Reborn, leaving my heartless son and husband with their mistress to create the life I deserve. Chapter 1, Awakening in the Past. The harsh beep of an alarm jolted me awake. My heart pounded as I shot up from the bed, gasping for breath. My body felt unnervingly light, free of the weight and exhaustion that had plagued me for years. I glanced around, bewildered. The worn-out floral wallpaper, the old wooden desk with my favorite notebook on top, the sunlight streaming through the lace curtains, all of it was familiar, yet impossibly distant. This is my old room," I whispered, my voice trembling. I rushed to the mirror on the wardrobe, nearly stumbling in my haste. My reflection stared back, no gray streaks in my hair, no lines of fatigue etched into my face. I looked youthful, healthy, and full of life. I touched my face in disbelief. I'm 27 again? Memories of my previous life surged through me, the betrayal, the endless sacrifices, and the gut-wrenching moment Liam tossed my urn away. My fists clenched, and tears brimmed in my eyes. How could my son, my own flesh and blood, treat me like that? How could Ethan, the man I gave everything to, replace me with another woman and steal Liam's affection? But now, I had a second chance. A chance to change everything. A new beginning. The first thing I did was dig through my drawer for the calendar. The date confirmed my suspicions. I had been sent back 10 years, just before Ethan had begun drifting away from me, and before Liam's heart turned cold under his father's manipulation. I didn't waste a second. Grabbing a notebook, I began scribbling everything I remembered from the future, the pivotal moments of betrayal, the schemes Amanda and Ethan had orchestrated, and the years of emotional neglect I endured. I won't let it happen again, I murmured, determination solidifying in my chest. First on my list, securing my financial independence. In my past life, I had sacrificed my career dreams to support Ethan's business ventures, only to be discarded like an old rag. Not this time. I would revive my passion for design and start building my own future. Facing Ethan. Later that evening, Ethan returned home, his usual charming smile plastered across his face. I felt my stomach churn as I remembered how that same smile had masked his lies. "Lila," he greeted, leaning in to kiss my cheek. I stepped back, evading his touch. He frowned. "What's wrong?" I folded my arms, keeping my tone steady. "We need to talk." Ethan's brows furrowed. "About what?" "About boundaries," I said, meeting his gaze head-on. "I've decided to go back to work. I've been neglecting my ambitions for too long." His expression faltered, confusion giving way to irritation. "Work? Lila, you don't need to work. My business is doing fine. You should focus on the household and Liam." I laughed bitterly. "Your business, huh? And what will I have if you decide to walk away one day?" "Nothing. No, Ethan, I'm done being just your shadow. I'm rebuilding my life." Ethan tried to argue, but I didn't let him. This time, I wasn't the timid, accommodating wife who bent to his every whim. Rekindling dreams. Over the following weeks, I applied to design firms, updated my portfolio, and began taking on small freelance projects. It wasn't easy juggling work and home, but every step felt like reclaiming a piece of myself. As for Liam, I showered him with love and patience, hoping to mend our bond before Ethan and Amanda could poison his mind. I enrolled him in extracurricular activities, spent quality time with him, and made sure he knew he was cherished. But I also kept my guard up. Ethan's true colors would surface eventually, and when they did, I would be ready to sever ties without hesitation. The turning point. One evening, as I worked on a design sketch, Ethan stormed into the room. His face was red with anger, and his phone was clutched tightly in his hand. "Lila," he barked. "Why did you transfer money from our joint account?" I didn't flinch. "Because I needed it for my business investments." "You can't just take our money like that." "Our money?" I countered, rising to my feet. "You mean your money, Ethan? The money I helped you earn by sacrificing my own dreams? I'm simply reclaiming what's mine." His jaw tightened, but he had no response. For the first time, I saw a flicker of doubt in his eyes. As he left the room in a huff, I knew the power dynamic in our marriage had begun to shift. This time, I wouldn't let Ethan or anyone else dictate my life. I was no longer the woman who endured silently. I was Lila Sanders, reborn, determined, and unstoppable. Chapter 2, The cracks begin to show. The tension between Ethan and me grew palpable over the following weeks. Gone were the days of blind submission. I was a woman with a purpose now, and Ethan didn't know how to handle it. One morning, as I was preparing breakfast, Ethan walked into the kitchen, his brows furrowed. "Lila," he said in that patronizing tone I'd grown to despise. "I've been thinking. Maybe you're taking this whole career thing a bit too seriously. Liam needs you at home, and frankly, so do I." I placed the pan of eggs down with deliberate care, then turned to face him. "Ethan, what Liam needs is a strong, independent mother who can show him how to stand on his own 2 feet. And what you need is to learn to respect the choices I make for myself." His mouth opened as if to argue, but the determination in my eyes silenced him. The sound of small footsteps broke the tension. Liam padded into the kitchen, rubbing his sleepy eyes. I bent down to ruffle his hair, offering him a plate of toast. "Good morning, sweetie," I said softly, ignoring the storm brewing behind me. Liam grinned, his innocent face a painful reminder of how much I'd sacrificed for him. This time, I wouldn't let him be caught in the toxic web Ethan and Amanda would weave. A surprising ally. Later that day, while working on a client's project, I received an unexpected visitor, Ethan's mother, Margaret. She was a sharp, no-nonsense woman who had always made me feel like I wasn't good enough for her son. But today, her demeanor was different. "I hear you've been busy," Margaret said, eyeing my sketches with a mix of curiosity and approval. I set down my pencil, wary of her intentions. "Yes, I've started taking on freelance design work." She nodded, her lips pressing into a thin line. "Good. It's about time you did something for yourself." I blinked, taken aback. Margaret, the woman who once told me my only job was to cater to Ethan's needs, was now encouraging me. "I'll be frank," she continued, sitting down across from me. "Ethan's a fool, and I've told him as much. I don't agree with many of the choices he's made, especially when it comes to Amanda." At the mention of Amanda, my body stiffened. Margaret noticed but said nothing. "Regardless, you've always been the better half in this marriage. I'm here to tell you that if you need support, financial or otherwise, you have my backing." Her words left me speechless. While I didn't fully trust her, having her on my side could prove useful. "Thank you, Margaret," I said cautiously. "But I intend to fight my battles on my own." A flicker of respect passed through her eyes before she rose to leave. The revelation. That evening, as I was tucking Liam into bed, my phone buzzed with a message. It was from an unknown number, but the words made my blood run cold. "Ethan and Amanda are meeting tonight at the Grand Hotel. Thought you should know. Ethan and Amanda are meeting tonight at the Grand Hotel. Thought you should know." My hands shook as I read the message over and over. This was it, the moment I'd been waiting for. In my past life, I'd ignored the warning signs, convinced that Ethan would never betray me so blatantly. But not this time. I kissed Liam's forehead, whispered a soft goodnight, and grabbed my coat. At the Grand Hotel, I spotted them almost immediately. Ethan and Amanda were seated in a dimly lit corner, their heads close together. Amanda's hand rested on his arm, her laugh sickeningly sweet. I clenched my fists, forcing myself to stay calm. This wasn't the time for confrontation, I needed evidence. Pulling out my phone, I discreetly snapped a series of photos. Amanda's flirtatious gestures, Ethan's guilty smiles, it was all captured. As I turned to leave, my heart ached. Despite everything, a part of me had hoped Ethan wouldn't cross this line. But now, the scales had tipped, and I knew there was no turning back. Laying the foundation. The next morning, I contacted a lawyer. "I want to discuss divorce proceedings," I said firmly. The lawyer, a kind woman named Clara, looked at me with sympathy. Divorces can be messy, especially with a child involved. Are you prepared for what this could mean for Liam? My chest tightened. Liam was my greatest concern, but I refused to let him grow up in a household built on lies and betrayal. I'll fight for full custody, I said. I want to provide him with a stable, loving home, something Ethan and Amanda can't offer. Clara nodded. Then let's get to work. A shift in the dynamic. As the days turned into weeks, I began subtly asserting my independence. I opened a separate bank account, started saving every penny I earned, and prepared Liam for the changes ahead. Ethan, oblivious to my plans, grew increasingly frustrated with my distance. "Lila, what's going on with you?" he demanded one evening. I met his gaze with calm resolve. "I'm taking control of my life, Ethan. Something I should have done a long time ago." He scoffed, brushing off my words as a phase. But deep down, I knew he sensed the shift in our dynamic. The calm before the storm. With every passing day, I grew stronger, more determined to reclaim the life I deserved. Ethan and Amanda's betrayal no longer defined me, it fueled me. And when the time came to confront them, I would be ready. For now, I focused on building the beautiful life I'd always dreamed of, one free of toxicity, betrayal, and the shadows of my past. This was my rebirth, and I wasn't going to waste it. Chapter 3: The Gathering Storm. The weeks leading up to the confrontation felt like a race against time. Every day, I gathered more evidence of Ethan and Amanda's betrayal. Photos, messages, financial records, all carefully catalogued. Each piece of proof strengthened my case, both legally and emotionally. Liam, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing around him, continued to be my beacon of hope. His laughter reminded me why I was fighting so hard, to create a better future for both of us. One evening, as I reviewed my collected evidence, a notification flashed on my phone. It was a forwarded email from Margaret. Hesitating for a moment, I opened it. The contents confirmed what I had suspected: Ethan and Amanda were siphoning funds from our joint savings account to finance their secret escapades. Trips, jewelry, hotel stays, it was all there, in black and white. Margaret had attached a single note: "Use this wisely. It's time for you to reclaim your life." For the first time in years, I smiled at the thought of Margaret. She had become an unexpected ally in my journey toward freedom. A strategic move. Armed with irrefutable evidence, I arranged a meeting with Clara. Together, we devised a plan to ensure that Liam and I would be protected, both financially and emotionally, once I filed for divorce. "We'll leverage the evidence to secure full custody," Clara explained, flipping through the file. "Given Ethan's neglect and infidelity, the courts will likely rule in your favor." "But Amanda is manipulative," I said. "She'll twist the narrative to make me look unfit." Clara smiled reassuringly. "We'll be prepared for that. The evidence speaks for itself." The conversation shifted to the logistics of the separation, dividing assets, establishing boundaries, and ensuring that Liam's routine remained as stable as possible. By the end of the meeting, I felt a newfound sense of clarity. For the first time in years, I had a clear vision of my future, a future without Ethan and Amanda's toxicity. The confrontation. The day of the confrontation arrived sooner than expected. Ethan and Amanda were hosting a small gathering at a restaurant, celebrating what they claimed was a business deal. I knew better. Dressed in a simple yet elegant outfit, I walked into the venue with confidence. Ethan's face paled the moment he saw me, while Amanda's smile faltered. "Lila," Ethan began, forcing a laugh. "What are you doing here?" I met his gaze, unflinching. "I'm here to address the lies, Ethan. The betrayal. The years of manipulation." The room fell silent as I placed a folder on the table. "This is everything, every deceitful act, every stolen penny, every falsehood you've spun to keep your double life intact." Amanda's face turned crimson as she tried to speak, but I silenced her with a cold glare. "Save it, Amanda. You've had your turn. Now it's mine." I turned to the small audience of colleagues and friends. For years, I sacrificed my dreams and well-being for this man, only to be cast aside like I was nothing. But today, I reclaim my worth. I will no longer be a victim of your lies. Ethan's voice cracked as he stammered, "Lila, you don't understand." "No, Ethan," I interrupted. "You don't understand. This ends now." With that, I walked out, leaving them to face the consequences of their actions. A new beginning. In the weeks that followed, I finalized the divorce. The court ruled in my favor, granting me full custody of Liam and a significant portion of the marital assets. Ethan and Amanda, exposed and humiliated, faded into the background of my life. Margaret visited me one last time, her expression soft. "You've done well, Lila. I'm proud of you." "Thank you," I said, genuinely moved. "For everything." As Liam and I settled into our new home, I felt a sense of peace I hadn't experienced in years. My freelance business flourished, and I began to rebuild the dreams I had once set aside. One evening, as Liam played in the yard, I sat on the porch, sipping tea. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink. This was my new beginning, a life filled with hope, love, and endless possibilities. And as I watched Liam's laughter fill the air, I knew I had made the right choice. This was the beautiful life I deserved, and I would cherish it forever. Chapter 4: Shadows of the Past. Months passed, and life seemed to settle into a peaceful rhythm. Liam thrived in his new school, his laughter filling our home with joy. My freelance business flourished, and I started making connections that opened doors I hadn't even dreamed of before. But just as I was beginning to breathe freely, shadows from the past crept back into my life. It started with a phone call. "Lila," Margaret's voice was tight with urgency. "You need to know something. Ethan and Amanda are planning to contest the custody ruling." I froze, my mind racing. "What? On what grounds?" "They're claiming you've manipulated the court with false evidence," she said. "And Amanda is now trying to paint herself as Liam's real mother, saying she's been more present in his life than you." Anger surged through me. Amanda had the audacity to play the victim after everything she had done? This wasn't just an attack on me, it was an attack on Liam's well-being. The unexpected ally. I prepared for the legal battle, but to my surprise, help came from an unexpected source. One evening, as I sifted through court documents, there was a knock at my door. When I opened it, a young woman with sharp eyes and a confident stance stood before me. "My name is Caroline," she said. "I was Amanda's college roommate. I have information you might find useful." Caroline revealed that Amanda had been involved in multiple schemes to manipulate men into supporting her lavish lifestyle. Ethan was just the latest in a long line of victims. "I kept quiet for years," Caroline admitted. "But seeing what she's doing to you and your son, it's too much. I have emails, photos, and records that prove her true character." Tears welled up in my eyes as I thanked her. With Caroline's evidence, I had a powerful new weapon in the fight to protect Liam. The courtroom twist. The day of the custody hearing arrived. Ethan and Amanda entered the courtroom with smug confidence, their lawyer presenting a narrative of lies and deceit. But when it was my turn, I presented the evidence Caroline had provided. Emails detailing Amanda's schemes, photos of her with various men, and financial records showing her reckless spending, all laid bare for the court to see. Amanda's face turned ashen as her web of lies unraveled. Ethan, too, looked shaken, his confidence crumbling as he realized the depth of Amanda's betrayal. The judge's ruling was swift and decisive. Not only was my custody of Liam reaffirmed, but Amanda and Ethan were ordered to pay a significant portion of my legal fees as a penalty for their baseless accusations. The final twist. As I walked out of the courtroom, a familiar figure approached me. It was Ethan, looking haggard and defeated. "Lila," he said, his voice trembling. "I made a terrible mistake. Amanda used me, and I was blind to it. I don't expect forgiveness, but I want to make things right, for Liam." I stared at him, searching his eyes for sincerity. There was regret, yes, but also desperation. Making things right starts with taking responsibility, I said firmly. Liam needs stability and love, not empty promises. If you're serious about being in his life, prove it with your actions, not words. Ethan nodded, tears streaming down his face. I will. I swear I will. A future reclaimed. In the months that followed, Ethan made genuine efforts to rebuild his relationship with Liam. He sought therapy, took parenting classes, and gradually earned my guarded trust. Meanwhile, Amanda disappeared from the picture, her reputation in tatters. For the first time, our lives felt balanced. Liam had the support of both his parents, and I had the freedom to pursue my dreams without the weight of the past holding me back. As I stood in the garden one evening, watching Liam play under the golden sunset, I felt a profound sense of peace. The shadows of betrayal no longer loomed over me. I had fought back, reclaimed my life, and forged a future filled with hope and love. This was the life I deserved, the life I had earned through resilience, courage, and unwavering determination. Chapter 5, A New Beginning. Months after the courtroom victory, life continued to stabilize. My freelance business had grown into a thriving enterprise, and I was even exploring new creative ventures. Liam flourished, his laughter becoming a daily melody in our home. But as the weight of the past faded, a new question emerged in my mind: could I find love again? I hadn't given romance much thought, too focused on rebuilding my life and protecting Liam. But as the pieces of my world fell into place, I realized there was room in my heart for something, or someone, new. The chance encounter. One sunny afternoon, I attended a community fundraiser organized by Liam's school. While perusing the booths, I bumped into a man carrying a box of supplies. "Whoa! Sorry about that," he said, steadying me before the contents of the box spilled. "No harm done," I replied, smiling politely. "I'm Alex," he said, extending a hand. "I'm one of the volunteers for the art program here." His handshake was warm, his demeanor easygoing. As we chatted, I learned that Alex was a sculptor who had recently moved to town to teach art at the local community center. We talked about everything: art, life, and the joys and challenges of parenting. Alex had lost his wife years ago and was raising a teenage daughter on his own. His genuine kindness and shared experiences resonated with me in a way I hadn't felt in years. The blossoming connection. Over the next few weeks, Alex and I crossed paths often, at school events, community gatherings, and even at the park where Liam played soccer. Each meeting felt effortless, our conversations deepening with every interaction. One evening, he invited Liam and me to an art exhibit he was hosting at the community center. Liam was fascinated by Alex's sculptures, particularly one of a phoenix rising from flames. "It's about rebirth," Alex explained. "How we can rise stronger from the ashes of our struggles." The symbolism wasn't lost on me. As I gazed at the sculpture, I felt a sense of kinship with its story, and with Alex. Trusting again. Despite my growing feelings, fear lingered in the back of my mind. Could I trust someone new after everything I'd been through? Alex seemed to sense my hesitation. One evening, after dinner with our children, he asked gently, "Lila, are you afraid to let someone in?" I nodded, unable to meet his eyes. It's hard to trust again after so much betrayal. I don't want Liam to get hurt, or myself, for that matter. Alex took my hand, his touch reassuring. "I understand. But trust isn't something we rush into, it's something we build, piece by piece. I'm here, willing to take that journey with you if you'll let me." His words touched a part of me I thought had been closed off forever. A new chapter. As the months passed, Alex became a steady presence in our lives. He supported my dreams, encouraged Liam's interests, and treated us with the respect and care we deserved. On a crisp autumn evening, Alex and I stood together watching our children carve pumpkins for Halloween. The laughter and warmth in the air felt like a promise of new beginnings. "I never thought I'd find this again," I admitted, looking up at him. "Neither did I," he said, his eyes full of quiet certainty. "But sometimes, life surprises us in the best ways. The beautiful life." Years later, as I watched Liam graduate from college with Alex by my side, I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. The pain and betrayal of the past were distant memories, replaced by the love and joy of the present. Alex and I had built a life filled with laughter, creativity, and mutual respect, a life where Liam thrived, knowing he was surrounded by unconditional love. As I leaned into Alex's embrace, I whispered, "This is the life I deserve." "And more," he replied, kissing my forehead. The phoenix had risen, stronger and more radiant than ever. This was the happily ever after I had fought for, and it was more beautiful than I could have imagined. Chapter 6, Regret's Grip. Months after my departure, Nathaniel's life began to unravel. His once perfect picture of happiness with Ivy was nothing more than a facade. The love he thought he shared with her began to show its cracks. Ivy's charm, once captivating, now revealed itself as manipulation. Nathaniel sat in his office one evening, staring at a pile of unopened bills. His business, once flourishing, was now plagued by financial troubles. Ivy, who had been a master at spending but not contributing, was nowhere to be found. The silence in the house was deafening. He hadn't heard Liam's laughter in months. He hadn't realized how much warmth Liam and I had brought into his life until it was gone. Realization of loss. One day, while organizing old documents, Nathaniel found a framed family photo tucked away in a drawer. It was taken during one of Liam's birthdays, the three of us smiling brightly. His hands trembled as he held the picture. Memories of those days flooded back, moments he had taken for granted. The way Liam's face lit up when I encouraged his dreams, the way I'd stayed up late sewing costumes for school plays, the meals I cooked despite being exhausted. Guilt clawed at his chest. He had let go of the one person who truly cared for him and their son. Seeking redemption, Nathaniel decided to look for us. He first visited our old home, but it was empty. Neighbors avoided him, some even glaring at him. He finally managed to ask Mrs. Harper, an elderly woman who had always been kind to me. "She's gone," Mrs. Harper said coldly. "Lila deserved better than what you gave her, and she's finally living her life." Nathaniel pleaded for any information, but Mrs. Harper shook her head. "You don't deserve to find her, Nathaniel. You had her and Liam, and you threw them away like trash." Her words were a dagger to his heart. Seeing what he lost. Months later, Nathaniel's chance came unexpectedly. He was walking through the park when he saw Liam playing soccer with Alex. The sight stopped him in his tracks. Liam looked happier than he'd ever seen him. Nathaniel's eyes then shifted to me. I stood nearby, chatting with another mother, my laughter light and carefree. Alex approached me, placing an arm around my shoulders, and I leaned into him with a smile that Nathaniel realized he hadn't seen in years, not directed at him, anyway. He wanted to approach but couldn't move. The realization that I had truly moved on hit him like a freight train. The confrontation. A week later, Nathaniel found me at a cafe where I often worked on my business. He approached hesitantly, his once confident demeanor replaced by uncertainty. "Lila," he began, his voice barely above a whisper. I looked up, surprised. "Nathaniel? What are you doing here?" I wanted to see you," he said, sitting down uninvited. "I've been thinking a lot about everything. About you. About Liam. About us." I folded my hands, my expression calm. "There is no us, Nathaniel. Not anymore." He flinched at the cold truth. "I know I messed up. I let my selfishness and Ivy blind me. But I want to make things right. For Liam. For you." I shook my head. "You didn't just mess up, Nathaniel. You destroyed what we had. You chose someone else over your own family. And Liam? He's thriving without your influence." Nathaniel's eyes filled with tears. "I was wrong. I see that now. Please, give me a chance to be in Liam's life. I'll do whatever it takes." Moving forward. I took a deep breath, the pain of the past lingering but no longer consuming me. "Nathaniel, I won't keep Liam from you. If he wants to have a relationship with you, that's his choice. But as for me, I've moved on. I'm happy now. And I won't let you disrupt the life I've built." Nathaniel nodded, defeated. "Thank you. I don't deserve your kindness, but thank you." As he left, I felt a strange mix of emotions: closure, sadness, and relief. He was a chapter of my life that had ended, and I was finally at peace with that. A new life. Nathaniel made attempts to reconnect with Liam, but his son kept him at arm's length, unwilling to forgive years of neglect so easily. Meanwhile, my life with Alex blossomed. Together, we created a home filled with love and support. Liam thrived in the environment we provided, knowing he was cherished. And as I stood on the porch of our new home, watching the sunset with Alex's hand in mine, I realized I had gained everything I deserved: a beautiful life, free from the chains of the past. Chapter 7: Nathaniel's Interference. Nathaniel wasn't ready to let go so easily. Although I made it clear that I had moved on, he began showing up more frequently, often uninvited. He claimed it was for Liam, but his lingering glances and attempts to rekindle conversations with me revealed a deeper motive. One evening, as Alex and I prepared dinner together, the doorbell rang. I opened it to find Nathaniel standing there, holding a soccer ball. "I thought I could take Liam out for some practice," he said, his voice steady, though his eyes flickered to Alex standing behind me. "Liam's doing his homework," I replied curtly. "It's a school night." Nathaniel's face hardened. "I'm still his father, Lila. I have a right to see him." Alex stepped forward, his calm presence grounding me. "And no one is stopping you, Nathaniel," he said evenly. "But you need to respect the boundaries Lila has set." Nathaniel's jaw tightened. "Boundaries? He's my son." I crossed my arms. "He's also my son, and I'm the one who raised him when you were too busy with Ivy. If Liam wants to spend time with you, he will. Stop forcing your way in." Nathaniel left reluctantly, but his visits became more frequent, each one more invasive than the last. Stirring trouble. Nathaniel began planting seeds of doubt wherever he could. He subtly criticized Alex in front of Liam, questioning his intentions. "Do you think Alex really cares about you, or is he just trying to get close to your mom?" Nathaniel asked one day while taking Liam out for ice cream. Liam, loyal and perceptive, responded sharply. "Alex has been more of a dad to me in a year than you've been my whole life." Nathaniel's face fell, but the damage he sought to cause didn't stop there. He started showing up at my workplace under the guise of wanting to discuss Liam. "You're letting a stranger raise my son," he accused during one such visit. "Alex is not a stranger," I shot back. "He's part of our family. And you're the one who threw that away, Nathaniel." The breaking point. One evening, Nathaniel's interference escalated. He showed up at Liam's school unannounced, causing a scene by questioning Alex's presence at a parent-teacher meeting. "You're not his father," Nathaniel hissed at Alex. "And where were you when Liam needed someone at his last recital?" Alex retorted, his tone calm but firm. The confrontation caught the attention of teachers and parents, embarrassing Liam and prompting me to confront Nathaniel. "Enough," I said, my voice sharp as a blade. "You're not doing this for Liam. You're doing this because you can't handle that I've moved on. If you keep this up, I'll take legal action to protect my son and my peace." Nathaniel looked stunned, but he didn't argue. For the first time, he seemed to grasp the depth of his actions. Moving forward, again. Nathaniel's interference dwindled after that night. He began attending therapy, realizing he had been projecting his regrets onto Liam and me. While he occasionally reached out to Liam, he respected our boundaries. Meanwhile, Alex and I focused on building a life filled with love and trust. Liam flourished in the supportive environment, his bond with Alex growing stronger every day. One evening, as Alex and I watched Liam practice soccer in the yard, Alex took my hand. "No matter what, I'll always stand by you," he said softly. I smiled, feeling a warmth that Nathaniel's interference could never touch. My past might have been marred by pain and betrayal, but my future was mine to shape, a future filled with love, resilience, and hope. Chapter 8, Nathaniel's Redemption Attempt. Nathaniel's interference faded, but not completely. He began to make subtle, heartfelt efforts to mend his relationship with Liam. One day, he sent a carefully written letter to our home, addressed to both of us. In it, he wrote, "Lila, I've spent a lot of time reflecting on my mistakes, and I know there's no undoing the pain I caused you or Liam. I see now how my actions were selfish, and I can only imagine how deeply they hurt you. I'm trying to be better, for Liam, and for myself. I know it's too late for us, but I hope it's not too late for me to be the father Liam deserves." When I showed the letter to Alex, he encouraged me to let Liam decide. "He deserves to know his father is trying," Alex said gently. "But it doesn't mean you have to let Nathaniel back into your life." Liam's choice. Liam agreed to meet Nathaniel for a coffee. I was hesitant but trusted Liam's instincts. Alex offered to come along for support, but Liam insisted on going alone. When Liam returned, his expression was contemplative. "How was it?" I asked, trying to keep my tone neutral. He apologized, Liam said simply. "It felt weird. Like he was trying to make up for everything all at once. I told him I'd give him a chance, but only if he proves he's changed." It wasn't the closure I had hoped for, but it was a start. Nathaniel's true test. Nathaniel's actions spoke louder than his words. He began attending Liam's soccer games without making a scene, cheering from the sidelines like any other parent. Slowly, Liam warmed up to him, but Nathaniel remained cautious, careful not to overstep. One evening, Nathaniel approached Alex and me after a game. "Thank you," he said, his voice filled with sincerity. "For taking care of Liam when I didn't. I can see he's happy now, and that's all I ever wanted." Alex nodded but didn't mince words. "He's happy because Lila built a world where he could thrive. Don't forget that." Nathaniel lowered his gaze, acknowledging Alex's words. A new chapter. As Nathaniel worked on rebuilding his bond with Liam, my relationship with Alex deepened. He proposed during a quiet evening at home, slipping a simple but elegant ring onto my finger as Liam cheered in the background. "Mom, say yes." Liam urged, his excitement infectious. "Yes," I whispered, tears streaming down my face. Our wedding was a small, intimate affair, with Liam as our best man. Nathaniel was not invited, but he sent a thoughtful gift for Liam, a framed photo of the two of them at a recent soccer match, a symbol of the progress they had made. Nathaniel's redemption. Nathaniel continued to change. He became an advocate for responsible fatherhood, sharing his story at community events to help others learn from his mistakes. Though our paths had diverged, I felt a sense of closure knowing he was genuinely working to be better. A future full of promise. With Alex by my side and Liam thriving, I finally felt at peace. Our home was filled with laughter, love, and the kind of happiness I had only dreamed of. One evening, as we sat on the porch watching the sunset, Liam turned to me and said, "Mom, I'm proud of you. You never gave up on me or yourself." I hugged him tightly, my heart swelling with gratitude. Life had come full circle. The scars of the past remained, but they no longer defined me. I had reclaimed my life, built a family rooted in love and respect, and found the happiness I truly deserved. Chapter 9, The Mask Slips. Nathaniel's efforts to reconnect with Liam seemed genuine, but as time went on, small cracks began to appear. Subtle hints and offhand comments revealed a darker motivation behind his apparent redemption. One evening, Liam came home from a soccer game with a furrowed brow. "Mom," he started cautiously, "Dad said something weird today. He said if I forgive him, it might help fix his business." "What does that mean?" I froze, my stomach twisting with unease. "What exactly did he say, sweetheart?" I asked, keeping my tone calm. Liam recounted the conversation, explaining how Nathaniel hinted that being seen as a responsible, involved father could improve his reputation. My heart sank. It wasn't about Liam, it was about Nathaniel's image. Confronting the truth. The next time Nathaniel tried to contact Liam, I intercepted the call. "Nathaniel," I said sharply, "we need to talk." He sounded surprised but agreed to meet at a nearby cafe. When I arrived, he was already seated, his polished appearance a stark contrast to the man I once knew. "Lila," he greeted with a practiced smile. "What's this about?" I didn't mince words. "Liam told me what you said about fixing your business. Are you using him to clean up your reputation?" Nathaniel's smile faltered for a moment before he regained his composure. "That's not fair," he said defensively. "I'm just trying to make things right, for Liam and for myself." "For yourself," I repeated coldly. "You haven't changed, Nathaniel. You're still the same selfish man you always were, willing to manipulate anyone for your benefit, even your own son." His expression darkened. "You don't understand how hard it's been for me. Losing my family, my business struggling. And whose fault is that?" I cut him off. "You lost us because of your own actions. Don't you dare try to shift the blame or use Liam as a pawn in your schemes." Drawing boundaries. After that confrontation, I made it clear to Liam that he didn't owe Nathaniel anything. "You have every right to set boundaries," I told him. "Your father needs to earn your trust, not by using you, but by proving he truly cares about you." Liam nodded, a determined look in his eyes. "I'll give him one last chance, but if he messes up, I'm done." Nathaniel's last attempt. True to his word, Liam confronted Nathaniel during their next meeting. "Dad," he said bluntly, "are you only trying to be in my life because it'll help your business?" Nathaniel hesitated, the guilt written all over his face. "Liam, it's not like that, I just want us to be a family again." "But we're not a family," Liam replied firmly. "Mom, Alex, and we're a family. You lost that chance when you hurt us. If you really care about me, stop using me for your own gain." Nathaniel looked taken aback, but Liam stood his ground. Moving forward. Nathaniel's attempts to redeem himself gradually faded as he realized Liam was no longer the boy who idolized him. Instead, Liam was a young man who saw through the lies and manipulation. Meanwhile, my relationship with Alex flourished. We built a life filled with honesty and love, free from the shadows of the past. One evening, as Alex and I watched Liam excel in a school play, I felt a sense of peace. Nathaniel's selfishness no longer had a hold on us. We were finally free to live the beautiful life we deserved. Nathaniel's choices left him isolated, his schemes exposed. While he had lost the chance to truly change, we had gained something far greater: freedom, strength, and a future filled with hope. Chapter 10. The threats begin. Nathaniel's true nature emerged after Liam and I firmly distanced ourselves. The facade of a remorseful father and ex-husband crumbled, replaced by bitterness and anger. His failure to manipulate us into his life again fueled a dangerous desperation. It started subtly. One evening, as I was locking up the bakery, my phone buzzed with a text message from an unknown number. "You think you've won? Don't forget who I am, Lila. I won't let you take my son away from me." My heart raced as I stared at the message. I knew it was from Nathaniel. Escalation. The next week, I noticed unfamiliar cars parked near our home and bakery. I brushed it off as paranoia until Alex brought it up. "Have you noticed that black sedan down the street?" he asked one evening as we had dinner. "It's been there every day this week. I think someone's watching us." My stomach churned. "It has to be Nathaniel," I said quietly. "He's been sending me threatening messages." Alex frowned, his protective instincts kicking in. "You should have told me. We need to document everything and involve the police if this continues." Liam's confrontation. One day after school, Liam came home visibly shaken. "Mom," he said, his voice trembling, "Dad cornered me outside school. He said if I don't come back to live with him, he'll ruin our lives." I pulled him into a hug, anger simmering beneath my calm exterior. "Liam, listen to me. None of this is your fault. We'll handle this together." Nathaniel crosses the line. The threats escalated. Nathaniel began spreading rumors about me in our small community, claiming I was turning Liam against him out of spite. He contacted Liam's school, attempting to paint himself as a concerned father. The final straw came when I found the bakery vandalized one morning. The words "lying thief" were spray-painted across the front door. It was clear Nathaniel was behind it. Taking action. I filed a restraining order against Nathaniel, detailing his harassment and threats. Alex insisted on installing security cameras at both the bakery and our home. During a meeting with a lawyer, Alex asked, "What can we do to ensure Nathaniel can't harm Liam or Lila further?" The lawyer explained our rights and reassured us that the restraining order was a strong first step. The turning point. Nathaniel's threats only fueled my determination to protect my family. With Alex's support, I reached out to local authorities and community leaders, explaining the situation. They rallied behind me, discrediting Nathaniel's rumors and offering support for Liam. One evening, as Alex and I were reviewing the security footage, the police called. "We've arrested Nathaniel," the officer said. "We caught him attempting to break into the bakery after hours. He won't be bothering you anymore." Finding peace. With Nathaniel out of the picture, life began to settle. Liam thrived in school, his confidence growing each day. Alex and I continued to build a life filled with love, trust, and mutual respect. Nathaniel's actions had left scars, but they also strengthened the bond between us. Together, we had overcome his threats and created a safe, happy home. One evening, as we sat on the porch watching the sunset, Liam said, "I'm glad we have each other. That's all that matters." I smiled, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. We had faced darkness and come out stronger, leaving Nathaniel's toxicity firmly in the past. Chapter 11, The Plan to Expose Nathaniel. Nathaniel's arrest offered temporary relief, but the damage he had done, emotionally and socially, couldn't be ignored. His manipulation, lies, and cruelty had plagued not just my life, but Liam's as well. Alex, ever the strategist, suggested that it was time to turn the tables and expose Nathaniel's true colors. "We've played defense long enough," Alex said, determination glinting in his eyes. "It's time for people to see him for who he really is." I hesitated for a moment, unsure about stooping to Nathaniel's level. But the thought of clearing my name, protecting Liam, and ensuring Nathaniel couldn't harm anyone else spurred me forward. Gathering evidence. The first step was to gather irrefutable evidence of Nathaniel's misdeeds. Over the years, I had kept records, text messages, emails, and even voice recordings of his threats. Alex suggested digging deeper. "We need testimonials," Alex said. "People who've seen what he's done or have been affected by him." I reached out to former employees from Nathaniel's company, individuals he had wronged or cheated. Surprisingly, many were eager to speak out. Stories of unpaid wages, verbal abuse, and manipulative contracts began to surface. Liam takes a stand. Liam, now more confident and determined than ever, wanted to contribute. "He used me as a pawn for years, Mom. I need to tell people the truth." With his permission, we recorded a heartfelt video. In it, Liam described how Nathaniel had manipulated him, turned him against me, and discarded him when it no longer suited his agenda. "People need to know," Liam said firmly. The social media campaign. Alex suggested leveraging social media to ensure the truth reached as many people as possible. We carefully edited the video, adding screenshots of Nathaniel's threatening messages and testimonials from his former employees. The caption read, "The truth about Nathaniel Hayes, a father and husband's double life exposed." Within hours of posting, the video went viral. Comments poured in, some expressing shock, others sharing their own negative experiences with Nathaniel. The public fallout. Nathaniel's carefully crafted public image began to crumble. News outlets picked up the story, conducting their own investigations into his business practices and personal life. One of his business partners, furious about being dragged into the scandal, issued a public statement condemning Nathaniel's actions and severing ties with him. The confrontation. Unable to handle the backlash, Nathaniel showed up at the bakery one last time. His once confident demeanor was replaced by desperation. "How could you do this to me?" he snarled. "You've ruined me." I stood firm, flanked by Alex and Liam. "No, Nathaniel. You ruined yourself. All we did was reveal the truth." The final blow. As Nathaniel's empire crumbled, I decided to file a defamation lawsuit against him for the rumors he had spread about me. The court ruled in my favor, awarding me significant damages, which I used to expand the bakery and support Liam's education. Nathaniel, now penniless and disgraced, tried to garner sympathy, but the public was unforgiving. His former allies turned their backs on him, and he was left to face the consequences of his actions alone. Moving forward. With Nathaniel out of our lives for good, we finally found peace. The bakery thrived, and Liam excelled in his studies. Alex and I grew closer, our bond strengthened by the trials we had overcome together. One day, as we celebrated the bakery's anniversary, Liam raised a toast. To truth, resilience, and new beginnings. The room erupted in cheers, and I felt a sense of closure. Nathaniel had tried to destroy us, but in the end, his actions only made us stronger. Our lives were no longer overshadowed by his toxicity. We had reclaimed our happiness, proving that even in the face of betrayal, justice and love could prevail. Chapter 12, a new chapter. With Nathaniel's fall from grace, life began to settle into a new rhythm. The aftermath of his lies and betrayal had shaken us, but it had also given us the strength to rebuild our lives. Alex, ever supportive, was there every step of the way. As we continued to grow closer, I could feel the weight of my past finally lifting. But there was still work to be done. Liam's new journey. Liam, having witnessed firsthand the cruelty of his father, found solace in the love and stability we were building together. No longer burdened by the constant manipulation and emotional turmoil that Nathaniel had put him through, Liam excelled at school and took on more responsibilities at the bakery. One evening, as we sat in the cozy cafe corner of the bakery, Liam spoke with newfound determination. "Mom, I've been thinking. I want to pursue something bigger than just school. I want to start my own business. Something that can help people, not hurt them." His words hit me deep in my heart. Despite everything Nathaniel had done to him, Liam's sense of compassion and drive to help others remained untainted. "You've got the heart for it, Liam. You've seen what it means to build something from the ground up. Whatever you choose, I'll be right here, supporting you." Alex's growing presence. As the weeks passed, Alex's role in my life expanded beyond just business matters. His support had been unwavering through all the turmoil, and I realized how much I had come to rely on him. There was a warmth in his presence that I hadn't known I was missing. He had always been thoughtful, but now, I began to see the depth of his care. Whether it was holding me close during a moment of vulnerability or planning surprise romantic dinners, Alex's actions spoke louder than words ever could. One evening, as we closed the bakery for the night, he took my hand and looked me in the eye. "You know, all this, what we've built, it's a testament to your strength. You deserve all the happiness in the world, and I want to be the one who helps give it to you." My heart fluttered at his words. For the first time in a long while, I felt like I was truly seen. Nathaniel's last attempt. Despite his fall, Nathaniel wasn't ready to give up completely. He made one final attempt to sabotage our lives, trying to get back into Liam's life by offering him money for his education and a luxury apartment. Liam, having grown up under Nathaniel's manipulative control, wasn't swayed. "I don't need your money," Liam said firmly when Nathaniel showed up at the bakery one day, looking desperate. "What I need is respect. And you can't buy that." Nathaniel's face twisted in fury, but Liam's words were final. With that, he turned his back on his father completely. Nathaniel, defeated and desperate, finally realized that he had no hold over either of us. Rebuilding the future. As Nathaniel faded from our lives once and for all, I focused on rebuilding a future I could be proud of. The bakery flourished, thanks to Alex's help and Liam's enthusiasm. I also began using the money from my lawsuit victory to fund educational programs for women who wanted to start their own businesses. I wanted to give back to the community that had supported me through the darkest days of my life. Liam enrolled in a business management course, while Alex and I discussed future plans for the bakery, including expanding it into a chain. I couldn't help but feel a sense of contentment at the life we were building together. No longer was I shackled to my past. No longer was I a victim of Nathaniel's cruelty. I had taken control of my destiny, and with Alex by my side, I knew that the future was filled with possibilities. A new beginning. One sunny afternoon, as we stood on the terrace of our new family home, one Alex and I had chosen together, Liam walked up to us, a grin on his face. He had just returned from a business seminar and was bubbling with excitement about the future. "Guess what? I've already got my first business idea," Liam announced, his eyes bright with enthusiasm. I exchanged a glance with Alex, both of us proud of how far Liam had come. "What's your idea?" I asked. "It's a cafe that gives back to the community," he said, "where people can not only enjoy good food but also help others, whether it's through charity events, business mentorships, or donating proceeds to causes that need support. I want to create something that makes a real difference." Tears welled up in my eyes. Liam had not only taken the lessons from his own painful past, but he was now using them to create something good. It was the kind of future that made everything worthwhile. I reached out and hugged him tightly. "You've learned from the best, Liam. You'll change the world with that heart of yours." Closing the door on the past. As the months passed, we all continued to grow and heal. Nathaniel's name was now nothing but a whisper of a past life, one that no longer held power over us. I had finally broken free of his toxic grip, and in doing so, I had found the life I truly deserved, filled with love, support, and purpose. The bakery expanded, Liam's business ideas began to take shape, and Alex and I solidified our future together. One evening, as we sat down for dinner, Alex took my hand and said, "We've come a long way. And this is just the beginning." I smiled at him, my heart swelling with gratitude. "Yes, this is just the beginning. And I couldn't be happier to walk this journey with you." The sun set over our new life, and as I looked at my son and the man who had become so much more than just a friend, I knew without a doubt that the future was ours to build. Together, we were unstoppable. Chapter 13, Shadows of the Past. Just as life began to feel settled, a shadow from Alex's past emerged, threatening the peace we had built. Her name was Valerie, a strikingly beautiful woman with an aura of confidence that could captivate anyone in a room. She was Alex's ex-fiancée, a part of his life he had never spoken about in great detail. It started innocuously. Valerie showed up at the bakery one afternoon, her arrival unexpected and disarming. She strolled in as though she belonged, her perfectly tailored dress and polished demeanor drawing curious glances from customers and staff alike. When she saw Alex, her lips curved into a knowing smile. "Alex," she said, her voice smooth as honey, "it's been a long time." Alex stiffened, his cheerful demeanor evaporating in an instant. "Valerie," he replied cautiously, glancing at me as I stood behind the counter. "What are you doing here?" "I heard about your bakery. I couldn't resist coming to see it, and you," she said, her gaze flicking toward me for a brief moment before returning to Alex. "I see you've been busy." Tensions rising. Valerie's presence unsettled me, though I tried to hide it. She seemed to find every opportunity to linger, often showing up at the bakery unannounced, always with some excuse, a business proposition, a request for Alex's expertise, or simply to catch up. Each time she appeared, she exuded charm and familiarity, clearly intent on rekindling something with Alex. One evening, as Alex and I closed up the bakery, I couldn't keep my feelings bottled up any longer. "Alex," I began hesitantly, "what's going on with Valerie? She's here so often, and I can't help but wonder." Alex sighed, running a hand through his hair. "She's persistent, I'll give her that. But whatever she's hoping for, it's not going to happen. Valerie and I were over a long time ago. She left when things got tough, and I've moved on. With you." His reassurance eased my nerves, but Valerie's actions spoke volumes. She wasn't ready to let go of Alex, and her determination to win him back became more apparent with each passing day. Valerie's true intentions. One afternoon, Valerie cornered me in the bakery's kitchen while Alex was out running errands. Her demeanor was cool and calculating, her words laced with veiled barbs. "You must be Emma," she said, her eyes scanning me with a hint of disdain. "Alex told me about you. It's sweet what you two have here. A quaint little bakery, a humble life." I straightened my posture, refusing to let her rattle me. "It's more than sweet," I replied firmly. "It's a life we've built together, with hard work and love." Valerie smirked. "Love? That's adorable. But you should know, Alex and I have a history. A bond that doesn't just disappear." He might not say it, but a man like Alex craves ambition, not simplicity. Her words stung, but I refused to let her see it. "Alex made his choice, and it wasn't you," I said, holding her gaze. "Whatever bond you think you have, it's in the past. And I trust Alex to keep it that way." Confronting the past. That evening, I told Alex about my encounter with Valerie. His jaw tightened as I recounted her words, his frustration evident. "I'm sorry she's dragging you into this," he said. "I'll talk to her and make it clear that she needs to stay out of our lives." True to his word, Alex confronted Valerie the next day. I didn't hear the details of their conversation, but when he returned to the bakery, his expression was resolute. "It's done," he said. "I told her there's no room for her in my life anymore. I'm with you, Emma, and nothing will change that." Valerie's last attempt. Despite Alex's clear rejection, Valerie wasn't ready to give up. She orchestrated a dramatic gesture, showing up at the bakery with a bouquet of flowers and a heartfelt letter, begging Alex to reconsider. Her desperation was palpable, but Alex remained steadfast. "Valerie," he said, his voice firm but not unkind, "what we had is over. I've moved on, and I'm happy with Emma. You need to respect that and let go." Valerie's eyes filled with tears, but she nodded reluctantly. I had to try," she whispered before leaving for good. Moving forward. With Valerie finally out of the picture, Alex and I were able to breathe easier. The ordeal had tested our relationship, but it had also strengthened it. Alex's unwavering commitment reassured me that our bond was unshakable, no matter what challenges came our way. As we sat together one evening, watching the sun set over the city, Alex took my hand and said, "Emma, you're my future. No one can take that away." I smiled, feeling a deep sense of peace. "And you're mine," I replied. "Together, we can face anything." And with that, we closed the chapter on Valerie's interference, ready to embrace the future we were building together. Chapter 14, A New Dawn. With Valerie's interference behind us, Alex and I focused on our shared dreams and the life we had built together. The bakery became not just a place of work but a sanctuary for love, laughter, and community. Each day brought new opportunities to grow, both in business and as a couple. One morning, as we prepared for the day's rush, Alex turned to me with an excited glint in his eyes. "Emma," he said, pulling out a small box from his pocket, "there's something I've been meaning to ask you." My heart skipped a beat as he opened the box to reveal a delicate silver ring with a sapphire at its center. "I've loved you from the moment you walked into my life," Alex began, his voice steady but full of emotion. "You've taught me what it means to love and be loved. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Will you marry me?" Tears welled up in my eyes as I nodded, unable to find the words to express my joy. "Yes, Alex. 1,000 times yes." The wedding. Our wedding was a simple yet magical affair, held in the lush garden behind the bakery. Close friends and loyal customers gathered to celebrate with us, their warmth and love filling the air. I wore a vintage lace gown, and Alex looked dashing in a tailored navy suit. As we exchanged vows beneath an arch of wildflowers, the world around us seemed to fade away. "I promise to stand by your side, through every challenge and every joy," Alex said, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "And I promise to love you fiercely, to trust you, and to grow with you," I replied, my voice trembling with happiness. When the officiant pronounced us husband and wife, Alex leaned in, and we sealed our vows with a kiss that felt like the beginning of forever. Building a family. Months turned into years, and our life together flourished. The bakery expanded, and we opened a second location in a neighboring town. Our loyal customers became friends, and the business became a beloved part of the community. Not long after, we welcomed a new chapter into our lives, a baby girl we named Lily. She had Alex's bright blue eyes and my curly hair, and she brought a light to our lives that neither of us had ever imagined. Our days were filled with the joyful chaos of balancing parenthood and running a business. Alex became the doting father I always knew he would be, spending his mornings baking with Lily perched on his hip, giggling at every little joke he made. A new chapter. As Lily grew, so did our dreams. One evening, as we sat by the fireplace, Alex turned to me with a thoughtful expression. "Emma, I've been thinking. What if we start teaching baking classes? Share what we've learned with others." I smiled, loving the idea. "That sounds perfect. We've built something special here, and sharing it with others would only make it better." Together, we launched a series of community classes, teaching everything from bread making to decorating elaborate cakes. The classes brought even more joy into our lives, connecting us with people who share our passion. Happily ever after. Years later, as Alex and I sat on the porch of our cozy home, watching Lily chase fireflies in the yard, I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. Life had tested us in ways I never imagined, but together we had built something beautiful. "I love you, Alex," I said, leaning my head against his shoulder. "I love you too, Emma," he replied, wrapping an arm around me. "I always will." As the stars twinkled above, I realized that our journey wasn't just about finding love, it was about choosing it, every single day. And in that choice, we found our happily ever after.